Hi, good morning. My name is Justin Apakian. I am doing a presentation on rebalancing an investment portfolio for Dr. Mascara's Finance 5502 capstone class at Nova Southeastern University. This presentation was designed with the intentions of helping new investors understand asset allocation, rebalancing, and the dynamics of an investment portfolio, as well as helping experienced investors understand the strategy of rebalancing. So before we talk about rebalancing, we have to talk about investing in the first place. So if you're a recent graduate of Nova Southeastern University and you get a job that offers you a 401k, you have to make the decision to invest or not to invest in the 401k. It's the same outside of a big company job. You choose to invest or not invest. You can use a financial advisor or you can do it yourself. But you need to make that decision. When you make that decision, you have to determine whether or not you're going to invest in stocks, bonds, investment vehicles such as mutual funds and exchange-traded funds to get your allocation. Okay? So we're going to talk today about proper allocation, winners and losers, and discipline. Before we can discuss rebalancing, let's talk about balance. Webster's dictionary says that balance is the state of having your weight spread equally so you do not fall. More importantly, regarding investment portfolios and rebalancing, balance is the ability to move or remain without losing control. So our agenda today is what is rebalancing, and the most basic question, why rebalance at all? We're also going to discuss who rebalances, where in a portfolio to rebalance, pros and cons. We're going to look at cost versus benefits, and we're going to look at value. Okay, rebalancing is the process of realigning the weights of one's portfolio of assets, which involves periodically buying or selling assets in the portfolio to maintain your original desired asset allocation. You don't want to have too much weight in stocks and not enough weight in bonds, and vice versa. So let's take a look at an investment account. Now, we're going to start off with $100,000 invested. We're going to use a simple rule of thumb. It's just a basic rule we're using for presentational purposes. It's not stated anywhere and it's not gospel. But we're going to take 100 minus your age, and that will be what we weight in stocks. So in this case, we're looking at a 40-year-old person. 100 minus 40 is 60% in stocks. The remaining will be in bonds or fixed income, which is the 40%. So originally, when we invest, whether it's 401k at work or we're investing on our own, we are choosing how to weight our portfolio. So we're going to start off with 60% in stocks, 40% in bonds, and for presentational purposes, we're going to have some money in cash. So you can see, moving from the first quarter to the second quarter, the stock market did really well. Now you have 70% in stocks and 30% in bonds. As you can see, the cash is getting a little greater due to stocks pay dividends, bonds pay interest. So as you can see, moving to the third quarter, the stock market did really well. Now your weight is 80% in stocks, 20% in bonds. You can see that the cash now is used for reinvestment purposes. So at the end of the fourth quarter, what we need to do is rebalance the account. So you started with 100, say it's worth 120 now. During that fourth quarter, we're going to go 60% in stocks, 40% back to bonds, with a little bit left in cash. So who rebalances? Well, many investors rebalance, from individual investors to 401ks to institutions, all the way down to pension funds. Anybody who invests should know about rebalancing. So is there a good time to rebalance an investment portfolio? Well, you can invest quarterly, semi-annually, or annually. Most investors rebalance on an annual basis. There's two schools of thought to rebalance. You can rebalance in one day. You can say, on January 1st, I'm going to rebalance my investment portfolio. You can rebalance at a precise moment. Someone once said timing is everything. So say the market is really doing well in October, and you decide then is a good time for you to rebalance. Let's take some profits out of the stocks, let's stick them into bonds, we'll rebalance the portfolio. The hardest thing to do is rebalance a portfolio because it's hard to sell here and buy here. Stocks and bonds don't always move in direct correlation, meaning when stocks are up, bonds are usually down. So if your stock account is doing really well, it's very hard to sell your stocks and buy the bonds that aren't doing well. Well, that essentially is rebalancing. Selling your winners, buying your losers. So what are some of the pros and cons of rebalancing? Well, there are many pros, but let's talk about the first one. Maintaining that original, desired asset allocation target. That's why you rebalance. You can capture gains, offset your losses. And it's very measurable. It's attainable. And it can be cost effective, especially in a 401k. The cons are if you're outside of a 401k, if it's transaction based, if you have to pay every time you sell or buy, it can be costly and not beneficial. There's also the loss of potential gains. If I sell here, but at 20%, but the market did 30% that year, I would miss out on 10% gains. So you can lose potential gains. You also can realize the loss. If you sell here, you realize that loss. And investing, you need to know you do not lose until you sell. So we talked about some of the costs, but let's focus on the benefit. The benefit to rebalancing is knowing. You don't have to rebalance, but it's important to know about the strategy called rebalancing. Everything comes back to your investment objectives, your time horizon, and your risk tolerance. But it's very important, especially in presentational purposes like this, that you know about the strategy of rebalancing. So the next time you're sitting around the water cooler at work and everyone's talking about the 401k and their investments, you'll be able to talk about rebalancing. My name is Justin Apakian for Dr. Mascara's Finance 5502 class, capstone class at Nova. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Thank you very much.